Here's my presentation for Athletic Therapy Internship 2. The skills I used throughout the year, I found that I got from ETS, so mobility exercises, activation exercises, and stretching exercises. All I found contributed very well to uh, the time in my internship, such as if the guys had a tight hip, they would come to me and ask, "Hey, do you have a hip mobility exercise?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, I have a few. I know the 90-90, I know the adductor ruck, and the quad opener. I even know some shoulder ones that I learned. So those were very helpful in mobilizing my athletes. The skills you learn throughout the meetings over the year were very beneficial and helped contribute to the time in the internship because learning the calf release and interosseous release helped with some of my athletes in their calf pains and their shin splints. Classes and labs, they were very helpful in assessing and contributed to the assessment of the injuries, such as, in labs we went through the ranges of motions, we went through special tests, and those are very helpful in getting a fundamental basis of how to test the joints and how to test for the injuries, which is very helpful. So as when I was testing my ankle sprain that happened in the beginning and the end of the year was very helpful. The first responder scores I found very helpful in building my confidence. There was no emergency, so I didn't have to use any of those skills, but just having the background kind of gave me confidence in knowing that I had that experience. And then this podcast by Jocko Willink, he said, as a Navy SEAL, you should detach from your combat scenario, examine it, and then react to your situation, which I found very helpful. In a time when I had an injury, such as when James went down and I had to go out and help him in the national game, just detaching from where you were, knowing, seeing what happened, and then attacking the solution, I found was very beneficial in knowing that, and that's how I reacted much better to that injury. Now, these three skills are very important. I found in the time I spent in my internship because being organized was very beneficial because this being organizing all the treatments, all your tape jobs you do, and writing down what time you do them at is very important in terms of after practice or after games and going back to feeling out swollen. Was much better than trying to remember everything that you did and just try to go off on what you think you know is right. So that was much better to write things down. In terms of time management, you got to have the time management skills because, for an example, in first semester, I had 5 classes on top of the internship, top of helping out at ETS, and then testing went down, and I adapted to taking on the other team and helping out at practice and going to the games and just sacrificing my time, and it was take one for the team. That's what I did. So time management skills is very important, and that relies to being able to adapt. As the Navy SEALs say, you need to improvise, adapt, and overcome, and that's a big thing to do. So, just like I did, I adapted to taking on another team. You got to be able to adapt to what your team is going to do and work from there. That is the most important thing to do. The classes that were relevant were sport injury management. That was the biggest one because that was the foundation to our internship, knowing how to assess the injuries, such as going through ranges of motion, special tests, all those things. It was very important knowing how to do those things. So learning that was very beneficial for us and contributed very well to this internship. Exercise rehabilitation too, I found very big contributor because it helped us give an understanding of how you develop a rehabilitation program, such as starting with an isometric contraction and developing the strength from there in shoulder injuries. Advanced exercise prescription helped a lot in terms of prescribing the program and helping out with different athletes and their age groups and what you should be doing in terms of being the program specificity. So making sure that it's tailored to the right athlete. Make sure you can't have volleyball players doing a hockey program. It won't add up. triangles with triangles, circles with circles, shapes with shapes. It's almost the same thing. Biomechanics and anatomy was very helpful for us in understanding how the muscles moved, where their insertion was, where their origin was. So that way, when we were doing ranges of motion or massage techniques or glute or any type of muscle release, we knew how that muscle functioned so that we can work it through that motion. And that was very helpful in these terms. Over the year, there were not a lot of injuries. More just patellar tendonitis or shoulder issues, nothing that prevented any of the players from actually playing their sport. I want to say a handful of them had some sort of patellar tendonitis that occurred. Few players had some shoulder issues, mainly shoulder impingement going on. Some of them occurred from the very start, some occurred as the year progressed. And then we had 2 ankle sprains, one that occurred at the very beginning of the year, and then one that occurred right at the end of the year. One happened in practice, and one happened right in the game. I only had the one injury occur during the game. That was in the Nationals, so that was a big deal. Pretty cool. Not pretty cool for James, obviously, but cool that I got to go out and deal with an injury. Could the injuries have been prevented? Absolutely, yes, possibly. They could have been an underuse injury, an overuse injury, and they were definitely an acute injury such as just ankle sprain. Many of the volleyball players did not go to ETS as much as often as they should have, which I'm not going to force them to go. I can't do that. But if they did go, some of these injuries could have been treated and prevented and modified, not modified, but treated as the year went on, and it would have went away, which could have improved their performance as well. So my experience overall was really cool. It was a good one. I liked it a lot. The boys reversed the score from last year. They went 2 wins and 16 losses last year, but they had 16 wins and 2 losses this year. Made it to provincials, which was very exciting for the boys. They loved it. Won 2 games, lost 1, making us come second in Ontario, but we were the Eastern Division champions, which was pretty cool for them. They, considering the huge deficit they had last year, huge amounts of loss, and they even made it to nationals, which was huge for them too, especially for many of them being first years or rookies in this team. And that was fantastic. It was a great opportunity to go out to Fredericton. Unfortunately, our one player did get injured. I may have suffered a concussion, but we're okay. No worries there. Other experience I got from this internship, other than the volleyball team that I was part of, I got to be a part of the women's volleyball team, as I said earlier, to help out just a little bit, just being a team player. So that was a fun time. I also helped out at a women's volleyball tournament in January. Being at ETS and an AT internship was really cool, as I got to see both sides of the field and how Garrett and Olivia always interacted with you guys and how that really worked out. And I found really cool to be on both sides of the field, playing both sides. Gave me a better relationship with the athletes. I found get to seeing them more often than just at practice. I got to see them in the gym and coach them through movements, and then some other athletes would recognize me as the trainer for the volleyball team. They're like, hey, that's really cool. And then one of my favorite sports is lacrosse, so being able to be a trainer and go out to lacrosse tournaments was really cool, especially seeing our own girls play. So overall, my experience throughout this internship was really grand, and I think it's going to be a milestone or a huge impact on my life further. Future advice for you guys, I would say maybe just more simulation of emergencies, like the one you guys did at the start of the year, in this year, whenever a girl had walked in and fainted on the ground, scaring Jared, and then me progressing not progressing, but following right behind him and helping out with the scenario. That was really cool. So engaging the athletes or students in that can be very helpful into calming them down if there was an emergency later on or in their internship at all. One thing I liked was the mini presentation that you guys had us do in the winter term, which was, I had the bond assessment. Sarah had her nerve stretchy dance move thing. Um, that was really cool, and I think if you were to put that into fall and have everyone kind of teach, that's really cool too. Just, hey, like 5 people get to do this instead of a different assignment, maybe. Um, it was a really cool concept, and getting to learn everything was really cool. And lastly, just thank you for the wonderful experience and teaching me the last few years. It was grand. Take all the knowledge you guys have taught me and apply it to my hometown football team and go from there. So thank you a lot, guys, and take care.